The sooner you learn that we're in business here, the sooner you learn that this is an operation. Do you understand what I'm talking about? It means business. Flubbing around. Scratching. Sitting out there. Flipping snookers. We've got things to do. Oh, what a night. Oh, what a night. All those things standing up there against that sky. All those lights. I mean, it looks like a cheap, rotten set for a miserable review sketch. You know, Manhattan, two young lovers, star-crossed. The sounds of Manhattan, horns honking in the background, newsies hawking papers. How long has it been since you've heard a newsie hawk a paper? Which reminds me of something I can't tell you at this time, but since we have women and children with us and it's Friday night, I wish I could tell you it's a fantastic story. It's so late. It's always late. Oh, what a night. Oh, what a terrible ferment. Like about 3 or 4 hours ago, I'm sitting on the bus, all by myself, just sitting there. And I see this old doll sitting ahead of me. One of these, you know, the kind that look like angry, sort of like angry chickens, you know, thin neck. You could, if you could reach out, and you could just take a little, you could pluck the tendons of her neck like a lute. And she's sitting there, and she's got this steely eye, and she's reading what it looked like the Mirror or the Muse. I know with these papers, you know, they have all these columns all the time, but they're always answering questions. And she's sitting there, and I'm looking over her shoulder. I'm an inveterate nutty reader on buses and stuff. And if I don't have anything to read, I'll read the labels on the backs of guys' hats and stuff like that. I've just got to have something to read. Maybe it's an attempt to escape. I don't know. Maybe I can't stand it. Maybe. Oh, yes, star-crossed lovers, the streets of New York, Manhattan, springtime. Oh, the world of joy, loveliness, happiness. Oh, there's no place but life to live. No, hold it, cut it out, will you? I'm sorry. Spring, you know. I'm sitting there, and this old doll is reading this column, and the heading says, "Planning can keep your marriage rosy." I could see those plans going through her head. Any of you out there doing any planning to keep your marriage rosy? You're making little notes? You know, I know a chick who's so hung up on it. Of course, there's a problem among you.
Song for you.
Oh, please don't. Oh, leave me alone, will you? All of you. Hello? What is this? I paid, didn't I? I belong here, don't I? Of course I do. I mean, everything's zipped and everything's closed. I got my tie on.
Wandering, just wandering.
I got my shoes shined.
Back for some more of home.
Yes, I know.
Then,
it's all right.
Well, I go roaming again.
Oh, yeah, let's go. Come on. Yeah.
With my wealth, I wish I had lived when great genius lived.
Oh, madam, please, the open road is
I
such a...
would not have done.
It's out there for the living.
The writings of yon dying beggar
Don't you feel it?
that he is by far the greatest.
Oh, don't listen to him, lady. It's life to be lived. It's Friday. The open road is out there.
I tried to live the life of Riley.
Riley said to me.
Oh, come on. Leave us alone, will you, man?
Try to live mine.
The Jersey Turnpike is just out there. Let's go. Let's fly.
Try to live your own life.
Let's go to Howard Johnson's and get some clams.
I
Let's
must
live.
never follow you.
Oh.
True.
Oh.
And it must follow.
Look, we're just
You
trying to lay a little
never
planning
follow
here.
me.
Put a few things in perspective. That's all. Just...
Sage cried.
What the...
All this planet.
Oh, come on.
But
Get
could
off
not
my
hear
back.
the sage rebuttal.
You don't
As
have...
youth replied.
Now, look,
Vanity
you.
is all.
There are kids here. There are women. There are children. And life is short enough.
You remind me of someone that I know.
Yeah, it's me. You know
Look a
me.
little closer and you will see that I am the one I
Don't listen to
remind
him.
you of.
Come on. I know his type. Look at the look in his eye, baby. He's got no good there cooking. Oh. There they go. Well, she was no good anyway. You got a loose valve spring! What a clunker. Oh, it feels good. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't feel good. And it all started out so wonderfully. We were so right. Oh, Manhattan. The enchanted towers. Oh, the wonderful land of Oz. Look at those lights.
La paratka vipapo, Los silent night, holy night. All is calm, all is bright, round yon virgin mother and child, holy infant, so tender and mild. Sleep in heavenly peace, sleep in heavenly peace. Mama's got a squeeze box she wears on her chest, and when Daddy comes home, he never gets no rest, 'cause he's playing all night, and the music's all right. Mama's got a squeeze box, Daddy never sleeps at night. How's everybody, huh? How's your day? It's a Tuesday. I'm Jim Dedelow. I'm hanging out along Indianapolis Boulevard. Actually, I've pretty much been hanging along Indianapolis Boulevard my whole life, now that I think about it. Although, we are moving the radio news talk portion of our establishment down the street back to our original location. And we have a sports network that I'm not really sure where that's going. So we have had a nice, 9-year run, 10-year run here at Purdue, 10 years. And it's now a cybersecurity center and not necessarily a entrepreneurship center. So I think it's appropriate time. And we get our radio station back where it kind of belongs, really. But, all right, I guess I pretty much turned on enough stuff to get it going. This delay should only last for, I don't know, maybe a couple more weeks until we move down the street back to our area. So I apologize. I think I'm back. I was on about 4 minutes late. And part of that is just this ongoing struggle with trying to connect these two studios. It's been going on for 10 years. All right. I know you guys are all calling. Now, someone's got to tell me, text my phone. Am I on YouTube? That's all I really care about. No, I don't. As a matter of fact, what happened was, we're like, all right, I want to go back and I want to fix the radio station and do all that we have to do and get it all done and, make it better. Do what we did to the sports network, but do it to radio. And I'm like, all right, let's do that. And Adriana's like, well, we have to have a YouTube channel. And I'm like, well, I just said I wanted to go back to do radio. All right, but okay, we'll do what you want. Now when I'm not on YouTube, yes, you are on YouTube, thanks. Now when I'm not on YouTube, people get all turned around. I'm like, well, I don't even care. But evidently, plenty of you do because the numbers are kind of crazy. All right, let me see if you guys want to see me. There I am on YouTube. All right, I don't know. Pretty soon there won't be that glass in front of me and stuff. But hey, I see that you guys are calling. If you want to call, 219-845-1100. I need to get my glasses and get all ready here. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. You're like, all right, it's Verley Day, right? Or some of you are thinking, well, I'm not listening today if Verley's there. One of the two, huh? Well, You know, I've got news for both sides of the coin here. That the day that Verley comes on with me is our highest listenership and viewership. Believe it or not. Can you believe it? Believe it or not. Okay, so I think I'm live on everything. Can you imagine that? It all worked. And even the worst part, or the funniest part, is it's me. I did it all. I got it all on the air. You know, it's kind of crazy. So let's look. Yes, you are on YouTube. Yes, you are. Thank you, Lori. Thank you, MX. So I will bring it up soon so I can read your comments and talk about it. I have one other comment or one other question to you folks that are texting me. How does my mic sound, huh? Hala poroshki Filipina. Is that better? I think that's better, isn't it? Yes, it is. All right, let me change some things here, and there it is right there. That should be about right. There, that's my guess. All right, so I'm all set up, ready to go, and your mic is better. Yeah, it went better. All right, thanks a lot. Okay, so let's take a look at traffic and all the things that are happening before we go on to talk about just horrible, awful stuff. So it is what it is, and we kind of got to do it. But 294 around the city looks pretty good. 80 going east and west looks good. Bishop Ford, Dan Ryan, Skyway Toll Road, Borman, I-65. They're all moving along well. As a matter of fact, we're already into holiday traffic because there ain't none right now. How's that sound? In terms of the weather, gosh, not nearly as cold as it. Remember, we've had so much snow and so much cold before the Ides of December. It's kind of hard to, I don't know. But today, it gets beautiful out. Not as cold with periods of clouds and sun, and a high of 37. Tomorrow, highs of 40. Areas of freezing fog in the morning. Periods of clouds and sun. Watch for slippery spots early. And then by Thursday, it gets all the way up to close to 50 degrees. 48, windy with occasional rain. So all that snow in your front yard, or if you've been too lazy to shovel, all that ice in the driveway is going to melt. I shoveled, I think, 2 or 3 times, and I strained a muscle in my stomach. So that last snow that came down, I'm like, I'm not touching that. So I got 2 nice strips of ice down the driveway that hopefully they'll go away. Perhaps we'll have to resort to a little chemical decomposition and throw some salt out there. Do you want me to go through drug challenged youth killing his parents? Would you like me to go through evidently ISIS-inspired dad and son shooting people on a beach like it's target practice? I know what I'll do. I could talk a little bit about the 3 wakes I'm going to this week, or I could talk to you, and I think I'll do that first. Hey, you're on the air. How are you? What's your name, and what are you doing?
Well, Larry, I hope you're not disappointed when you move to the other building, because you're probably not going to have no windows, and I can't fly that Bud Light 6-pack in front of the window no more.
You know, we've been working down there, and I love it because part of it is there aren't any windows.
So I can't fly anything in front of any windows no more, huh?
No, that was actually pretty funny. I literally thought I was back in Berkeley and hallucinating in that. If you guys don't know this story, but I'm sitting there talking on the radio right by the window here, and I'm looking out, and I'm like, there's 6-packs of Bud Light floating in the parking lot. Now, it just so happens I had been out the night before, so that kind of made it even more important, I guess. But I'll never forget that. And that was really my first experience with a drone. You know that? That was you were early on, and he had it on a string. He was hanging a 6-pack of emptied out Bud Lights. And that had to be one of the best pranks ever pulled on me, to be honest with you.
No, because I was somewhere one time when you and Alexa was sitting in a chair, and you had a relative playing at a concert out in the park, and I was flying a drone, and I tried to give you the control. Now, Ron Matlock, I got a picture of him, drone in the air, him holding my controller. He was operating my drone. I tried to hand it to you, and I guess you're only good at Dedelow buttons. You know,
Well,
you're scared to control something, but boy, you know how to control that jet button. Dedelow button.
I do, and I could hang up on you at any point, just erratically if I want.
That's why I behave on here, because I don't want to. I don't like Dedelow buttons.
You know, one of the. Yeah, you're right, and I don't Dedelow people as much as I used to. I don't think I do, but
you've been pretty good. You've been pretty good.
You have been really good with the technology, and you kind of opened my eyes up to, you know, sometimes you just need someone that you wouldn't expect to be really technologically oriented. And I'll be honest with you, after meeting you and hearing you all these years, I didn't expect you to be that advanced on technology. And
yeah, I'm kind of an all kind of person, do everything. You know, I mean, I'm a retired truck driver now. I teach people, but you know, the thing is, let me explain something. My dad, which is long gone, passed on my mom and family, you know, but my dad was a machinist at American Bridge in Gary, Indiana for 38 years. And, you know, I worked in a factory, and, you know, what made me become a truck driver was because, you know, when I was working, where I worked at, I had a pretty good job for a little bit, and then I got laid off because of that TRA and all that stuff. But I didn't like somebody always having to keep watching my back. And that's the reason I drove a truck, because once I got my load on and did what I did, I was going down the road. I was my own boss. But, you know, the thing is, enough of that good stuff, but, you know, maybe your union guys, union carpenters and all that, will put a window in that building somewhere so I could fly a drone around.
No. You know? As a matter of fact, we got the locks upgraded so that MX can't ride his motorcycle into the building. I mean, I used to be doing the afternoon show, and I would leave the door open up front, thinking, oh, it's nice, you know, I'll go see the guys at Smith Chevy, and, you know, it's just a nice summer day. And I left it open, and that was a huge mistake, because that's when MX rode his motocross bike in and down the hallways, and then when I ran out to kind of yell at him, he was leaving, and he got out just in time.
Well, because of his age now, he does that again. He's probably gonna have to be on a moped.
Yes, he's got a moped now. Hey, I will tell you this though, I'm over there yesterday with 3 people that are, I think, all 21 years old, and so Joe Sabino and Adriana and Matt Kaufman, and we're cleaning something out. And they're like, well, we're kind of getting to the point. What do you want to do with this office? Can I clean it? Can I pull the stuff out of it? And I go, no, that's preacher's office. You can't really touch that. And they're like, well, what are you talking about? When did he die? And I go, 14 years ago.
Oh boy, how much cobwebs were in there?
Well, that's what they said. I think Joe and Matt were like, hey, you know, maybe we could just go in there and dust it a little bit and stuff. And I go, well, let me think about this. So I'm going to leave it to you. Is it okay to dust and maybe just clean up any bits of food or anything in Preacher's old office? Or do we have to leave it exactly like it was? What's your call?
14 years of food in a Preacher's thing?
No, I don't think there's any food in there or anything, but
you know that's something about, 14 years he's been passed, and that thing's there, it's a thing that somebody should look, now I never knew that Preacher, or it was long, I only came in to listen to your station when the COVID started, and I've really enjoyed the station. And it's your choice, and I mean, it's a thing. All your old listeners, I won't say very old, I just say old listeners really appreciated that preacher. But the thing about it is I'm going to let you go in a second so you can get the professor on. But being that it's going to warm up this week, I'm sure glad I didn't put my shorts away, because maybe Wednesday and Thursday I could wear my shorts and a T-shirt, go outside, and I didn't put my grill away. Maybe I could cook on the grill, and I got a rain jacket in case it rains.
Well, I'll tell you
let
what.
me know if you want. Let me know if you want to come by. I'll have my shorts and a T-shirt on, and I'll fire up the grill and throw a steak on the grill. It won't freeze this time.
Hey, listen. All right, thank you for the call, Mike. I appreciate it. So, you know what? He brings something up. There's a lot of people listening that don't even know who the preacher was. You know what I mean? And if anybody has any old tapes, I have a few. Maybe I should play old tapes of preacher. I'm not sure it's appropriate for today's audience, but if I've ever met anybody that was above all of the talent that's ever come through here, well, that would be preacher. He was one goofy dude, but man, he had the knack. All right, I'm taking a little time getting to bad stories. Can you tell? I stall. Hey, you're on the air. How are you?
Everybody should get together on the Little Blue Marble. Man, the preacher was great. You should turn his office into the WJOB Museum. Preacher was a great man. Safety Steve calling in, and not only that, he was a great golfer, but controversy. But you know what? There is no other dude like Preacher. I'll tell you that right now. I really miss that guy.
God, could you imagine him now with all of the discord in the world? How much fun he would be having?
I tell you what, he would have his heyday. He was, I really enjoyed listening to him, and he always left with whatever he said. He always had a good message at the end of his program. And I'll never forget, he used to say, why can't we all just get along? And we're only on this blue marble a short while. That still resonates with me and stays with me, because he's so true about that.
Yeah. I was listening not too long ago to one of those horse races. Remember that?
Oh, yeah, those are great.
We would do the horse race, and he'd call him Crapperton instead of Dabberton. And then he would make fun of Fowler. And, he had one for everybody, man. McDermott horse. And, I mean, it was some of the most creative stuff I've ever heard. But, man, could he piss off local leaders. You know what I mean? Oh,
in a heartbeat. And you know what? And actually, towards the end, he did exactly that to the very end. And gosh, it's like I'm really glad that you kept his office because a lot of people that don't know him, you had to know the preacher inside. Just a complete different guy that he marched to his own drum, and nobody could tell him any different. And if you told him, if you said, preacher, I don't want you to do that, what would he do?
Oh.
He'd go out and do it the very next day.
We had kind of one of those relationships where maybe we played up our differences a little bit more than they really were. People loved it when he would do something that I would have to discipline him for. And I realized after a while, I'm like, gosh, people really like this. So, and then I think he would do something, then maybe I would discipline him a little bit more than I normally would. And then it would just kind of get out of control, but it would always be funny, put it that way. Yeah, you're right. I miss him, man. I'm sitting there thinking about a guy who died 14 years ago, and we both miss him.
I guess it was that long ago when you think about it. One thing that he loved Freddy's. He loved going to Freddy's. He loved signing autographs on that piece of that photograph he had, and I can still see him to this day in that funky black outfit. But he always put these exaggerated, like Playboy outfits on when he would go out and with the sunglasses. And what a betting man! He would always say, "Jed, let's go golfing, but we're gonna bet on the hole."
Oh God, how many times did I have to? I remember a couple times it was like, I don't know, it was a lot of money, and he just would keep betting, and then kind of really knowing that I wasn't going to make him pay. But I want to go back to two things. First of all, what kind of person wears a red velour, kind of like a Playboy mansion kind of thing out at nighttime? You know what I mean? Remember he'd wear that smoking jacket?
George Costanza. That was a smoking jacket.
Oh, God. It was Hugh Hefner used to wear a smoking jacket. I think that must have been where he got it, Oh.
I think he did. I think he stormed the Chicago office and he nabbed that coat and it became his.
Oh, man. Oh, well, I think what we're doing, Stanek, is we are stalling because eventually I'm going to have to talk about some of the ugliness in the world right now. You know what I mean?
Oh, yes. I hear you with that. And you know what? And speaking of that, unfortunately, Rob Reiner and his wife got killed and stabbed. And you know what? All of a sudden, again, it becomes a Trump story. And because Trump said something, but you know what? Yeah, he's the president. Maybe he should not have said nothing. But that's Trump. He's going to say what's on his mind. But I mean, we're just getting out of hand. Every time that guy does something, everybody if Jay walked down the street, it'd make top news all over the country. Just give the guy a break. Let him. The more you say things about him, the more he's going to continue on. But the bottom line is, he's rough on the collars. But you know what? That's the kind of guy I still want for my president because I know he's still looking out for us in his quirky, crazy ways. I mean, a businessman is what he is, and we finally got a businessman running our country, and he did it for free once. He's not paid by lobbyists, and sometimes I wish people would just sit back and go, "Hey, we got 2 years of him. Let's just sit back and let him do his thing, and let's see how that plays out." And I could tell you what, I really think in the long run he's going to do a great job. I'm still behind him.
So, what you're talking about is after Rob Reiner and his wife Michelle were allegedly killed by the drug-challenged son, Nick, who's 32 years old, stabbed in their Hollywood home. President Trump came out and said some pretty egregious things, Steve, about a guy who just died. He wasn't, he wasn't even dead 24 hours, and our own president stepped out and said some pretty bad things that are being condemned across the board by, Republicans and Democrats alike. I mean, are we supposed to just forget that he said it or give him a break, like you said? Or are we to take the comments on their surface? You know what I mean? Like it's pretty callous, and you and I would never say that kind of stuff, but can we allow the president to say it and just look the other way?
Yeah, you do bring up, it's a real touchy situation, and it's like, then the other flip side of it is that they bring up these pictures of Trump with Epstein files, and they're so wrong, but it's just like, what have we come to? What it was all right when the Democrats went after Trump, tried to ruin him, tried to ruin his family, did everything they could. He still becomes the president, but he should have still some tact, at least when you're in that office, is not to, hey, if he's out having a cold one or a pop with you and I, and he says something, well, okay, that's we're sitting amongst close people here, and we're just throwing our feelings out there. But to be in a public figure, I don't care if you're Democrat, Republican, whatever you are, you got to really watch what you say, because there is some ramifications to what comes out of your mouth. I mean, sometimes I say things and I look around and I go, wow, did that just come out of my mouth? And, I get a little grief for that. I can't imagine. When you're a president, and really any elected official, mayor, a congressman, whatever, you got to really sometimes maybe write it down and look at it before you say it, because no matter what he's going to say, they're going to come and make something of it. He should know better than that. And is he pompous? Yeah, he's pompous. That's Trump. But, yeah, he should have just kept his mouth shut on this situation, especially after what happened to Charlie Kirk, his friend. He should have just said, hey, listen, you know what? Let's just let somebody rest in peace. Nobody deserves, I don't care who you are, nobody deserves to be murdered, and be murdered by your own family makes matters worse. But it's, like you said, Jed, you know, we live in a cruel world right now. People just don't think before they say things.
God, there's so much in there, Stanek. We do live we do live in a cruel world. You know what I mean? It's like, you know, every once in a while it just kind of hits you. Gosh, the world is kind of cruel right now. And you can almost kind of deal with it because you and I, we've lived through plenty of tragedy in our personal lives. But then you start thinking about, and I hate to do this, but gosh, I'm throwing my grandkid around and I'm like, man, I hope he gets like a full, you know, length of life like I've gotten. You know what I mean? But it seems like there's so many threats these days that it's almost kind of hard to picture that it would happen that way. You know what I mean?
You know, you look at in our lifetime, you know, we got to see so much things change. And sometimes the good old days were good old days when you shoveled your neighbor's walkway when there was snow and you didn't expect nothing from it, or you mowed their lawn. You grew up on a payphone calling your mom and dad, hey, this is where I'm at. Or you had to remember every phone number. And sometimes I think that we've advanced so far that we've lost the human nature. And it's evident and it's obvious throughout the whole world because just as you're out walking around, just stare and look at people. Do you see any eye contact anymore? And I do a lot of motivational speeches for doctors. And the thing that I tell them is I said, you know what the problem is? Those cell phones you guys have. We have had such great communication that we forgot the human nature of looking eye to eye into somebody else's eyes. And I would take every intern that's coming into the hospital, first place that I'd put them is an emergency room with a notepad and a paper, and I'd have them ask people eye to eye, you tell me what's wrong with you, and then we'll take it from there. But we've lost the human nature. We've become cold and we become very cruel world, and we become about, it's about me. It's about my family. It's no longer about your neighbor. It's no longer about your brother or your sister. And we have to you know what? We have to come to a big conclusion here that the good Lord put us on, as the preacher would put it on he put us on this blue marble to make the best of it because we only have this short period of time on this blue marble, and let's just get along.
His podcast is coming soon. It's going to be called Safety Steve. Thanks a lot, man. Hey, have a good day where it's nice and warm. Talk to you.
Hey, Merry Christmas.
Yeah, you too. I'll hear you. I'll talk to you again, I'm sure. All right. Let's take a short break, and then I will take your phone calls, and we'll continue to do what we do, which I'm not sure what it is, but we've been doing it for 102 years, so we must be doing something right. Silent night, holy night, all is calm, all is bright, round yon virgin mother and child, holy infant so tender and mild, sleep in heavenly peace, sleep in heavenly peace. All you folks on YouTube, Hele and Maraskafa Marananya, if that makes any sense. You are, for another week and a half until we move, you are being treated to me dunking a gluten-free bagel into coffee and eating it. Is this really on the air? I mean, is YouTube really on the air? Not really. Anyways. Too bad. Oh, man. Holomodo, Mishkenafa, holopko shmifane holomoronye hidishkefam holoposhkini hapkaranam hela moronoshkife hila moromonye halamaro hila mamo Dish kefi mana loroshki fi hela namanash keferemo. Jesus. Every once in a while you find something kind of funny. All right, I'm back on. All right, so I'm back on the air. I didn't get to eat my waffle or my bagel at all, so I'll put it to the side and tell you that there's absolutely no traffic. 294 around the city. Looks good. 80 going east and west look good. There's a little brake stopper at the merge from the Bishop Ford into the Randian, and actually it's building right at Jane Byrne right now as we speak. And that is, 37th on in is when it's bad. Skyway, Toll Road, Borman, I-65, they're all moving along well. It's going to warm up considerably today and tomorrow after kind of hanging around 7-8 degrees over the weekend. It is going to hang around upper 30s most of the day once we get there. Right now it's 17 degrees, and it's going to go up at least 20 degrees. It's 17 degrees here at the Strack and Van Til Studios on the campus of Purdue Northwest for another few days. And then we are, it's a high of 37 degrees. Not as cold with periods of clouds and sun. By Wednesday, areas of freezing fog in the morning, periods of clouds and sun. Watch for slippery spots early. What's going to happen is it will dip below freezing overnight. So some of that stuff that melts today will refreeze, and then by tomorrow morning it could be really slick. And Crapperton will be here, as his preacher would say. Anyways, Thursday, windy with occasional rain and a high of 48. Big honking swig of coffee. Why not, huh? No Verley, and it just kind of makes it odd. I woke up at 4 o'clock, so I had to prepare today. When Verley's coming, I don't have to prepare at all, which is nice. I do want to just tell you before I forget, where I went last night. And I'm reading this obituary, and I'm guessing, did Robe write it himself? Steve Robleski, it's otherwise known as Steve Robleski, a coach. He died at the age of 81. We had a little celebration for him last night at Bridges Scoreboard Lounge in Griffith, where he lived. And he coached at Munster a lot, and he coached at Griffith. But here's what he says on it. I don't know if this is his wife, Chris, coming up with this kind of thing. But if you want to read how your obituary should sound, Steve Robleski, a.k.a. Robe, or Coach. We mourn the passing of Stephen M. Robleski of Griffith, better known as Robe, on December 1st of 2025, born in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania in 1944, but raised by a gravel pit in South Bend, Indiana. He was the offspring of an obstinate steelworking Serb family, and that was U.S. Army Private Olga Radosevich, and then equally hard-headed Polish lineage, U.S. Army Second Lieutenant Clayton Robleski. So his mom was Radosevich, and his dad was Robleski, and they were both in the Army, I guess, right? All made possible by World War II. After an early life of enjoying the smells of the Musel Brewery and then graduating from South Bend Central High School, Big Robe went on to play football and golf at Franklin College. After a semester of living at home in South Bend and teaching at Culver Community High School, he was very eager to start life with his new bride, Chris, and what would become his epic tenure at Munster High School. For 48 years, he could not be talked into 50, but he could have done it. He taught math, geometry, business, and lunch. He was associated with a host of really excellent peers and fine teachers, too many to list, but we must note his pal and coaching guru, Ed Robertson, Rob. Now, this is bringing up way too many. Anybody from the old days at Munster understand that you really can't make up stories about two dudes who were just so off, but they were given such high levels of authority and accountability as coaches, as teachers. Ed Robertson was my driver's ed teacher. And you know who else was in there? You can't make this up. There was this really pretty young girl that was not really into Munster High School. I think she came from somewhere else. And then she was just plopped down and didn't really know anybody, but she was just gorgeous, right? And I forget her name. It might be one of the few girls at Munster High I didn't date. But so I'm driving this thing all summer long, laughing my whole time I'm supposed to be learning how to drive a car, because this guy, Ed Robertson, is sitting in the passenger seat. And between him and Steve Robleski, I'm not sure which one had a better sense of humor, but it was close. I'd say it's the same. And then the other person, there was this pretty girl. I'd sit in the back with her. Well, this other guy, we'd rotate. And that was back when 3 students went, and then one guy was the driver. So I had Joey Shruby, Ed Robertson, the pretty girl, and me driving around all summer. One time we drove to Robe's like, I mixed those twos up, Rob and Robe. Robertson says, hey, he goes, I'm kind of hungry. And Shruby says, hey, man, let's go to Wendy's. And I'm like, what do you mean, let's go to Wendy's? Where the heck is Wendy's? That was back before Wendy's was around. And, I know one. It's in Michigan City. And so we drove to Michigan City, and I got to say that was one of the top 5 little road trips of my life. First of all, Shruby driving on the highway was a freaking goofball. Shruby was my next-door neighbor. How we got paired up in the same driver's ed car, I don't know, but Shruby, who is now passed, how did he wind up in Florida? He left at the age of 21, and I never quite understood why. But then he told me later on, he goes, "Well, I did something, and I had to go to court, and then the judge says to me, he says, hey, I could either throw you in jail or you could go to the military." And he goes, well, I don't really like jail. This place is a dungeon. And so I think I'll go to the military. So he went to the Navy, and then he got stationed down in, somewhere near Tampa. And then he just wound up living there the rest of his life. But so if there's another person I can't make up. But Steve Robleski dies at the age of 81. I saw a lot of people last night at Bridges Scoreboard Lounge, and I talked to Chris, his wife, for a while, and all I could say is there's another kind of a character in my youth. Maybe I should sit down and write these down one time. You know, Crazy Kaplan's? You see all those billboards all over the place. Well, Greg Kaplan was not the original Crazy Kaplan. He is Crazy Kaplan, believe me. But his dad, Melvin, owned the Kaplan shoe store across the street from where I'm sitting right now. Actually, I could look out and see where Kaplan Shoes was, and you'd go in there and you'd buy your hush puppies. And then they had this little circular train of, I don't know what they were, horses or goats or something. And it was so exciting to go ride that, and then you have to sit there and have some guy jam your foot into some really stiff shoe. People don't realize it. Now you can put a shoe on and it's like, oh, it feels kind of nice. Back then it was like strapping a piece of metal brace around your foot. But anyways, Melvin, I knew, I kind of got along with him. I hung out with Greg Kaplan's younger brother, Gary. Gary and I wound up being roommates in Chicago. We were kind of best buds. And so I would go over there, and old man Kaplan, Melvin, sorry, that's what they call him. But anyways, Melvin would have this dog next to him, Shayna. Oh, and it was like Melvin on his Easy Boy, all kind of falling asleep sometime, and then Shayna right next to him. But he had a way of observing things like, hey, what kind of trouble you and Gary going to get in tonight, huh? That kind of thing, and that's kind of how we talked. But he had something to say over here when he was in the Kaplan shoe store, and that he was good friends with Julian Colby. He was best friends with Julian Colby, who taught me everything about how to run this radio station and who I worked for. And then Kaplan would come down here, and every once in a while I'd have to come down as a 21, 22-year-old kid and get something from Colby over here, because I think they started drinking a little bit on Fridays in the back of the shoe store. They had all this storage. And but anyways, I'd have to go down there and pick up a contract, or could bring him a cigar. I had to bring Colby a cigar a couple times. Pick up the phone. Dedelow, bring me a cigar. Top left drawer. And I'm like, okay. And then it would be locked, and then I'd have to call him back and find the key and all that. But anyways, Melvin would sit at the counter at Kaplan's shoe store, and every time a hearse went by for a funeral, he said the same exact thing. He'd said, there goes another WJOB listener. And I don't know why I thought of that in Steve Robleski. Well, I do know why. I know that Rob listened to everything that I did on the radio or on the TV, and he was very proud of his students that would have gone on to be reasonably, I don't consider myself necessarily successful, but at least partly successful. And he loved that, and he listened every day. I'd see him. Alexis and I saw him for the very last time, and I'll have to find this photo. He was thinner. He was always kind of I'm sure Rob wouldn't mind if I call him. He was always kind of a fat guy. And then I saw him, at Scott Bridges' fundraiser at 912 there in Griffith. And man, of course, it was just jokes. And Chris and he and Alexis and I took a picture, a selfie. I got really long arms, so I take selfies. And he first thing is, why do you do this? Or you got to do this, or you got to talk about that. Because he listened all the time. So I think Melvin Kaplan was right in this case. And there goes another WJOB listener in Steve Robleski. If you're looking for a laugh, type it in, Stephen Robleski. It's WROBLEWSKI. I'm guessing he wrote his own obit, but if not, then somebody in his family has equally good sense of humor. Anyways, here's to Rob, buddy. I miss you, bud. I do have to say one thing. And I was talking to Jamie Marsh at Leroy Marsh's wife last night. And I was like, I got a lot of like family role models. My old man, my dad, he was an amazing role model. And I was just a punk as a kid. And there's no putting around it. Then I had these two uncles. One lived with us, Dennis Brown, and the other one, Danny Brown. Danny used to be the BA over here at Local 599. And they used to just beat the out of me all the time. And it just couldn't get it out of me, right? And my dad would just shake his head like, what is wrong with you? And but I had probably about 5 coaches that were really, they took an interest. Mike Nixick would be one. I can't imagine a world where I'm walking around where these guys aren't alive, and I at least got them in my head that if I do something stupid, I'd have to answer to them. But one would be Mike Nixick. You ever see Mike Nixick Field over there at Munster? And Nixick was, I called him Barney Rubble to his face. And he was just some sort of military guy. And one time I was a senior near the end. I was a pretty good baseball player, but I had a way of, popping off to people I probably shouldn't have popped off to. And one time during a game, he picks me up and he throws me against the fence, and I'm 2 feet off the ground, and he's just ripping on me in my face, and all these people are looking. And then he lets me down and goes, go out to shortstop. And I'm like, whatever. And I run out there. I'm like kind of shaking, but it's not like I I'd been punched in the face lots of times and, kind of beaten up a bunch of times, and it didn't really work. But I came home and told my dad, and he's fixing a lawnmower, and he looks up, and I told him, I go, man, Dad, this is what happened, blah, blah, blah. He goes, you probably deserved it. And he went on and fixed, hey, can you hand me that wrench? But there's Mike Nixick. And then I saw Bob Schinken's wife last night. Bob Schinken was the baseball coach at Munster. He wasn't necessarily a disciplinarian. Actually, he was so little of a disciplinarian. For a while, they lived right next door to us in apartments right next to our house. And I must have been 19, and I came back from California, and I saw Schinken at the little store, and he's like, hey, man, come on over. My wife works in the evening. And I sat there at the age of 19 drinking with a guy who was just coaching me in high school baseball. It wasn't just once, but we laughed and had some fun. But I can't imagine a world without Bob Schinken. I see his brother George all the time, and I know George once in a while sees me looking at him kind of funny, and then I'm just like, man, can't believe Bob's not here. But anyways, and then you go on to Robertson, who I talked about, who was a goofball, and I already talked about him. But then you get to Robe. And ultimately, the man kind of at the top of the hill is no longer around, and that's John Friend. So I don't know. If I start going off the deep end, I don't have any of my old coaches to come over and say, hey, come here and slap me upside the head. Why don't you wake up a little bit? Anyways, I talked too much. It's all partly because I didn't talk at all last night. I did see Cindy. She is a longtime caller, and she sent a drink over to me at the bar, and I'm talking to Johnny Slifka, and then somebody else came over and offered to buy me a drink, and he's like, what are you, like some sort of local celebrity or something? Slifka lives in Chicago, and Slifka will be playing his guitar here somewhere. I'll text him and find out where it is, but Cindy offered, and I'm like, no, I got to go home, put my grandkid to bed. And if I go before 7, I can hold them and sing to them and then put them to bed. And that's kind of the highlight of my day. And I'm not going to mess it up by sitting here drinking a bunch of Bud Lights. And so then I realize I'm halfway out the door. I go, if I don't go back there and offer to buy Cindy and all of her girlfriends a drink, she is going to come on the air and rip me one. So I went back in there to buy them a drink, and then they declined. Anyways, Rob, you created all these situations. Let me be right back in a moment O come, all ye faithful, joyful and triumphant. O come ye to Bethlehem. Come and adore him, born the King of angels. O come, let us adore him. O come, let us adore him. O come, let us adore him, Christ the Lord. I can't believe this freaking obituary. Holy sh! Can I say? I could say it now, right? I'm not on the air. Holy shit, cocky mushroom. Anyways. Robe was associated with a host of really excellent peers, including his coaching guru, Ed Robertson. Robe and Rob, which is hard to get right, enjoyed many laughs and had so much fun coaching the Munster Mustangs, especially those freshman football squads. He enjoyed his role as the Mustangs' first athletic trainer before they started to get actual medical professionals to care for injured kids. They were tougher back then, remember? He had a blast running the clock for MHS basketball games for years, a charter member of the Munster High School Athletic Hall of Fame. He was the Lake Suburban Golf Coach of the Year, 1971. Although it was a tough transition from the Mustangs, Robe influenced a generation of footballers at Griffith High School, including his son Andy from 87 to 93 as an assistant coach for the Panthers. He was amazed by the guys who could scale the barbed wire fence to get home after practice. This had to be written by Robe. I'm sorry, he's talking to me from the grave. They surely had as much ferocity as the Mustangs of the 70s. That would be me. Robe was an avid golfer. Big Robe was once a regular in the end zone for Franklin College football games and a regular at Bridges Scoreboard Lounge for the dinner specials. Yes, he was. He spent his final years surrounded by friends and family and adopted dogs. Grandpa Robe especially enjoyed watching his grandkids and all of their activities and sports. He is survived by his wife, Chris, brother, Mike, and daughter, Terry, son, Andy, grandkids, Abby, Libby, and Clayton. Oh, come, all ye faithful, joyful and triumphant. Oh, come ye to Bethlehem. Come and adore him, born the King of angels. Oh, come, let us adore him. Oh, come, let us adore him. Oh, come, let us adore him. Christ the Lord. Oh, come, all ye faithful, joyful and triumphant. Oh, come ye. Hey, everybody. I'm Jim Dedelow, eating a bagel, talking about history. And let's take a look at traffic. 294 around the city looks pretty good. 80 going east and west looks good. Bishop Ford, Dan Ryan, they're moving along pretty well. Lighter than normal. Skyway, Toll Road, Borman, I-65, they're all moving along pretty well. Now, weather, a high of 37 today, quite a bit warmer, not as cold with periods of sun. Wednesday, tomorrow, areas of freezing fog in the morning and then just clouds and sun all day long. Watch for slippery spots early because it is going to be right around freezing. And by Thursday, it gets close to 50, windy with occasional rain. So, you guys want to talk? Let's do it. Hey, you're on the air. Knock, knock. Sorry you waited so long. I just got carried away. That's what happens when I don't have a producer.
Yeah, who's there? How you doing, Jimmy?
I'm doing all right. Did you like those Robe stories?
Well, definitely trips down memory lane. Although I kind of ended up calling initially because you were talking about the preacher first. So, and I kind of remember, at least kind of when I kind of was working for you, on occasion coming down to the WJOB studios and kind of seeing him in the studio too. Way
God,
back when.
What a character, huh?
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't get the picture out of my head of horses running down a racetrack when I was listening to that bit. You know what I'm saying?
How about the time he coaxed Dave from Gary to come in and eat a grasshopper? Who does that?
I'm not sure I heard that
Who
one.
eats a grasshopper and who coaxes a guy to do it? I think Dave from Gary lost a bet or something, and he had to eat a grasshopper. But anyways, yeah, I don't know. There's been a lot of characters, but who knows why I started thinking about the preacher. You know why, Dave?
Yeah.
Because there's so much kind of ugliness right now in the world that I tend to stall before I have to talk about it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I get it. But yeah, I kind of remember coming into the station every so often, recording my lunch menu segments, albeit not with a funny tone as me picturing some kid over at Berriger or Wadsworth today potentially getting a smiley potato and then seeing the smiley potato shaped like the Peking duck from A Christmas Story. I'm wondering if some kid will find that today and think, oh, it's my destiny to be the next radio storyteller on WJOB in about, 10, 20 years from now?
Yeah, this is Lunch Menu Dave. That was kind of right when the internet was taking over and people didn't know what was for lunch at their school. So Dave would gather all the lunch menus and would tell all about, I don't know, take a while. We'd go through probably at least 30 schools and say what they were having for lunch. And it's like now it gave me a chance to go to the bathroom or get some coffee or whatever. But yeah, those are good times.
There were times I would come into the studio to record the bit, and the preacher would be there at the studio, coming from Purdue Cal.
Yep.
Now Purdue Northwest, by the way. But
all right, Dave, it's good hearing from you. It's sad about Robe and all the Griffith people, including Dave, and all the Munster people are kind of reeling with a little grief this morning. But if you want to break up your grief, go read his obituary. I think he must have written it because it's ridiculously funny. All right, thanks a lot, David.
Yep.
We'll go to the next one. Hey, you're on the air. Thanks for waiting a long time. I appreciate it. What's going on?
Good morning, Jen. How you doing?
I'm doing all right, man.
You know what? Shoe leather traffic. Now, what I would like to do, since you got that room, and I done shoe leather traffic for the preacher, it's up to you. Get me a dirt bike Navi, and on it I'll put shoe leather traffic and put it in preacher's room. Would that be okay?
Now, we have to, Adriana, you might have to come in on this. Yesterday, you guys were wondering what we were going to do with the Preacher Museum, right? I don't know. I mean, should we just not? I mean, not Adriana, I think Semino wants to clean it, right? And
don't do that.
I don't know if we should just leave it as is or if we should make some improvements to it. I mean, you're talking about an improvement. You're changing history right there. So that's up to you. I'll give you permission to do it, but you got to decide if it's the right thing or not.
What I did?
Well, I did.
No, the MX wants to. What do you want to do? You want to put something in about shoe leather traffic into his office?
Well, I did shoe leather traffic for preacher for almost a year until he passed, and I wanted to get a dirt bike Navi, the back one.
Mm-hmm.
and on the sidewall of the dirt bike tire, I'll put shoe leather traffic. And,
All right, so let's get
you can't tear his place down, Jed. You can't.
We can't. All right, so I think the young folks yesterday were kind of marveling at his office being left there for 14 years without getting touched. And they're like, well, I think one of you said, let's make it a museum, right?
Yeah, you can do that. But the only thing with that is what they were saying is they won't throw anything away, but they'll make it look a little neater. So that way, if there's anything in there that we need to take out to make sure that it doesn't mess up what's in there.
Don't touch anything. Preacher wasn't the neatest guy in the world. You don't know him. You don't want him to put a hex on you.
So
now, Jed,
I agree with him. I haven't. Hold on a second. I have had so many people that wanted to clean that out or do something.
Do not do that.
But you're doing the same thing, MX. You want to add something, but
I think it's only memorable to put a dirt bike tire in there since I did shoe leather traffic.
All right, Adriana, you have the final call on that. What do you think?
Well, I'm not going in there, so, I mean, that's up to the boys.
I don't know, MX. We'll talk about it, but we have these decisions to make now that we're moving there. So it's just kind of sad. Really what I would like is some tapes of the preacher so that Adriana could make another podcast. This would be your first dead guy podcast. It would be the preacher podcast, but it would be all of his old tapes. What do you think? Is that a bad idea?
Well, here's the thing. I didn't know him. I don't. If that was to be a podcast, you would have to do it because I have no idea about him, his legacy, and I don't want to put in the wrong things in the titles and descriptions when they're actually like inside jokes that I have no clue about.
You know what, MX, she's pretty sensible, don't you think?
Yeah, it'd be a sensible thing to do.
How about you and me doing it? We'll introduce segments of the preacher, and then that would be the podcast. What do you think?
Yeah, you know what? Let's do it on live air, and then you can make it into a podcast. But I met Preacher in 1972, and we became good friends. And then all of a sudden, my brother, the union carpenter, he retired, right? 2003. And he said, I'm listening to this preacher guy on WJOB. And I looked at him, I said, you're listening to a preacher? I said, what's going on here? You know, he was a, what would you call it, a razor. I don't want to use the first word. You know what I'm talking about? And he could really go into a bar and tear it up. Believe me, it's that strong. So anyways, so my brother's telling me he's listening to the preacher, and I'm thinking he's getting saved while I'm looking at his lawnmower. And then I go into a local auto repair, and they said, this preacher guy's talking about you about motocross. And then I got broke up real bad, and I said, I don't know no preachers. And then when I heard his voice, right away, I knew it was my old buddy Steve Glover. And so what happened was, he carried a big book. You know what that book was for, don't you, Jed?
He was the original bookie.
Yes, he was.
And he was booking bets out of the WJOB studios, and I had to call. I had to say, you can't take bets here because it's federally regulated, and they could use it to take away the license. And he got, oh man, this is how I make my living, and people come by. I mean, it would be like, like the drug dealer next door. Like all these people are coming to the house, and then they just come for a short period and they leave. There'd be all these people coming to the studios, and I'm like, man, look at this rough-looking dude. There was even a lot of women who placed bets, and they would come and visit him in that little bitty office. they'd get their bet in, and then they would leave. And I'm like, come on, preacher, they'll take my license away if you're taking bets here. Anyways, I got to go, MX. I got so much to do. Thanks a lot. Hey, Adriana, it's good to see you.
Hello.
How'd you like being down there yesterday?
I'm going to trust the process because I know it's not going to look exactly like this. So I'm just going to trust the process.
I can't wait to get back there. I love it down there.
My thing is that there is a week and a half.
We'll get it done. Don't worry about it.
Okay.
I got faith in the three of you. You and Semino and Kaufman will get it ready in time. You didn't realize you were assigned to that, did you?
No, I did, but I was more so on the side. I was like, okay, point to where I want certain things to go, and that's gonna go there. That's gonna go there.
Yeah, those guys will lift it and put everything. But,
yeah.
But ultimately, just so everybody understands, I've always wanted to kind of have my own studio where I didn't have to share it with everybody, right? So we're building like a public studio.
I started laughing so much when I was just like, so you're going to do your morning shows by yourself? You're like, no, you're going to sit over there. And I was like, okay.
Yeah, it's mapped out. It's an old radio studio. But when there's other shows that come in, we have to leave this studio, and then they use all my stuff. And what I'm going to do is I'll have the morning show, my little area, and then we'll have a big kind of main studio for when like 6 Veterans Views people come in, or School City of Hammond, or anything like that. Purdue Northwest will bring a bunch of people, and we'll have 6 spots for them instead of having to pass the microphone back and forth. Anyways, Adriana, what happens is when there's this much despair in the world, I really just tell stories and try to get away from it. Mm-hmm. And that is why I probably need a producer to get me back on track.
Well, you have an interview at 7:15, so I was going to cut you off.
Rick Kolinsky
1 minute.
of NIPSCO
but you have
just texted me.
Yes.
And he's not coming.
Okay, well, you have 3 phone calls, so we're going to take a break, and then we're going to get to the phone calls.
Hey, man, I like being told what to do.
But hold on, you might have to sing silent.
Can we do? All right, can we do one thing?
Yes.
I'll just sing. Don't worry about it, and then you can just go to a break. Silent night, holy night, all is calm, all is bright. Go ahead, play the spots.
I know. I have to.
No, you don't. I'll sing to it.
Well, YouTube people need something.
Silent night, holy night, all.
McDonald's snack wrap is back. You brought it back. Ranch snack wrap. Spicy snack wrap. You broke the internet for a snack. Snack wrap is back. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Winter Wonderland. Eskeni Faparuna, Papaluj Kashamara, Helemana, Morishkifi, Papalara Nuran Makashi. All right, not as cold today with periods of cloud. Wait, I don't do the weather now. Adriana's here. I'll just do the traffic. 294 around the city looks pretty good. 80 going east and west looks good. Bishop Ford into the Dan Ryan. Isn't making much. It's lighter than normal. As you approach downtown, though, it gets kind of bad from 37th, 47th on in. Skyway, Toll Road, Borman, I-65, they're all moved along well. Adriana Alvarez with the weather.
Currently, right now, at the Sacramento Studios, it is 19 degrees. Hold on. There we go. Now I can hear myself. Okay. It is 19 degrees. Today we're seeing highs of 39, lows of 30. And it will not be as cold with some cloud and sunshine on Wednesday. We are warming up. Highs of 40, lows of 31. Areas of freezing fog in the morning. Intervals of clouds and sunshine. Watch for slippery spots early in the morning. Then Thursday we get to very warm temperatures. Highs of 48, lows of 15 degrees. Windy with occasional rain. And it's going to stay warm, especially throughout the rest of this week going into the holiday. So let's hope that we don't get a blizzard on the Christmas morning.
What?
Yeah, it's going to stay in like the 40s. And then also for our YouTube people, they were asking me a question, how do we find the podcast network? Just search up WJOB Podcast Network in any of your streaming platforms, Apple, Spotify, YouTube, as well as look them up on our YouTube channel. They should all be connected on there. And we are doing work with our website and our socials this break. So we will get all of those up. And as well as that, we have a new podcast launching, actually 2 new podcasts launching today. We have one called is it called the Northern? Hold on, let me make
You don't
sure.
even know the name of a new podcast by Bob Starkey, who is...
I know his original one. I just had to make sure that I know the one that is made for WJOB. It is the Northern Front Dad Bod Walking. That is one of the new ones that we have, as well as with the Cow Guy. It is called What Makes the Cow Guy Cry. Those both go live at 9 a.m. today. So you can find those on our streaming platforms as well as on our YouTube channel as well. So be sure to check those out. Those make 20 and 21 podcasts.
So just to follow, and some of you already know this, for 5 years, we built a sports network that now has 25 schools. We have 3 conferences that stream through us, and it is just an inordinate amount of work all the time and trying to get it paid for and everything. But I said at one point, I said, all right, all I'm going to do is like sell ads for it. You guys can run it. So we have some real professionals running it, Sam Michael and Peter Krakowski and Ben Cohort. Sam and Ben have been with me for 10 years each. And I'm like, come on, if you don't know how to run this stuff by now, I guess we got a problem. So they just run it. I still sell the ads and that kind of thing. But I said, I want to go back to radio and I want to go back to WJOB. It kind of wasn't our choice at some point. But I want to go back to the old building and I want to just do radio and get it right and make it better. And Adriana's like, well, we need a YouTube channel. And I'm like, why do we need a YouTube channel? I just want to do radio. So here I am on YouTube. Now, if the YouTube's not on, a bunch of people text me and are all pissed. And now I'm like, this is not. Anyways, there's a bunch of people watching now. So hi to you, whatever. And some of your comments are just awful. But anyways.
They're kind of funny. I'm not going to lie.
And then I'm like, all right, I want to podcast my stuff, Adriana. And I'm like, just my stuff. And, well, we might as well build a network for everybody who wants a podcast. So now We got 21 podcasts. We got a thriving YouTube channel.
You're almost at 50 viewers right now.
And all I wanted to do was come up on in the morning and just talk on the radio like we've been doing for 102 years.
Mm-hmm.
And so now I'm
kind
of caught in the same situation where I'm like, all right, we got to do something to get young local athletes on TV. So we built this eventually we made it into the JED TV Sports Network, now the Heartland Sports Network, and we're doing what we're supposed to do, but I just wanted to put a few Munster and PNW games on and some other locals, maybe smaller. And then all of a sudden we got them all the way to LaPorte County now. And even we do some game. I think we're going to do some basketball games from St. Joe County. And it is kind of all I want to do is I want to make sure you guys know this is why I do this, just to come in here and screw around, okay? That's all I want to do. Just want to come in and screw around. If you want to build a podcast network or a YouTube channel, go right ahead. But this is what I do. And right now, I'm going to do it right now. Let's take some phone calls. 219-845-1100. Hey, you're on the air. What are you doing? Thanks for waiting.
Just keep your day job. Stop singing. Keep your day job.
Oh, really? Why don't you sing? Oh, wait a second. Hold on a second.
Keep your day job. Don't try to sing no more.
Turn them down a little. Hey, so hold on a second. Before you say anything else, what's your favorite Christmas carol song?
Silent Night.
Then right now, Adrian and I are going to be quiet, and you're going to sing it right now.
No, if I start to sing, the dogs will start to howling. No. See, I'm not going to attempt to do that.
Matlock, listen, I never ask you to do anything. You call in, I always talk with you.
You asked me to do something that I can't do well because they asked me to sing in the choir in my church. And I said, no, I don't have that voice, so I don't do it. So
doesn't matter.
I'm sorry about that, Mr. Dedelow, okay?
That's my dad. I'm Jed or Jim. So listen,
Jed,
hold on a
okay,
second.
okay.
All right. This will make it even worse. This will make it way worse. We'll do it together. Silent
night.
Holy night. All is calm. All is bright. Radiant virgin, mother and child. Holy infant, so tender and mild. I can't believe you don't know the words.
I do know the words. You were just trying to over. Well, I do know the words.
All right. If I was trying to
matter of fact, I have a lot of that came up. All the Christmas song and Santa Claus is coming to town. I think they had one by James Brown. That Santa Claus goes straight to the ghettos and all that Christmas songs and all that stuff. And but anyway, Jed, let me just say that what I had a lot of time thinking what's going to be happening in our country and how the coming together. I'm about coming together. I met this one guy. His name's Trucker Mike, and he came to me. He was at he came to this food store. Save More Food Store, ninth, and he told me, he said, I'm Trucker Mike, and I was just so glad to see him. And it was about giving. He was wanting to bring some money at the Penny-a-thon that the Vernon Smith has every year, Penny-a-thon to help them. And I said, oh, okay, good. He said, well, I just wanted to come through here. He said he was driving trucks, and he came down Broadway, and he came. I said, well, I'm just so glad to see you, Trucker Mike. I think that's awful good of you. It was always about giving, And I see so many good people. Sometimes good people are surrounding themselves by, my mother always say, be careful the company you keep. Sometimes I think Mike is a very good guy, decent guy, but sometimes when you hang out with the wrong people, it turns you around. And I just think like now, I just think that he probably don't like what some of his friends, and they call him, I won't call them the names over, they know who. One just called me a racist the other day on the radio, but I don't want to go with that. I just want to go with where we go from here. I just happen to believe that right now some of these young people, they don't like what their parents. Maybe it was teached in the home about racism. Maybe it was teached that, but they don't want to be any part of it. I listen to Adriana and all those people. I mean, just a whole totally new, different. And my parents always told me, look here, don't ever disgrace me. You basically be a good individual. Everybody, this is America. This is great. She said there are some things that happening in America now shouldn't be in terms of Jim Crowism. She said, but I think things going to be together because I came up in a family, and believe it or not, a lot of preachers. My great-grandfather was superintendent of the Methodist Church down in Arkansas, and I was brought up just loving people. And you could have, like I say, you could have two kids out there fighting each other, black and white, and they'll hug each other. But that won't happen with some of these people. If you fall out with me because of who I like to support as a Democrat, I've said to you before, and you've heard me say that I like Pence. I like Pence, but I like Holcomb, and I'm not a one person. What would happen, Jed, if we just had one party? We just had one Democratic or one Republican party. I think I want to have an option in America. Would you? I'm just simply saying that. So right now, what I'm saying, the commander-in-chief of these United States right now ought to lead by example, okay?
All right. So I'm going to stop you right now. Now, there was one thing I did. There's like 5 things I wanted to talk about. And if Verley was here, like she should be, we would have already talked about all of them. Instead, I just screwed around. All right, here we go. President Trump seized on the stabbing death of Rob Reiner and his wife to make a baseless attack on the Hollywood director less than a day after reports of his killing, suggesting that Mr. Reiner's criticism of Mr. Trump may have led to his murder. And here's what Trump wrote on Truth Social on the day that Reiner died. He died that the death was reportedly due to the anger he caused others through his massive, unyielding, and incurable affliction with a mind-crippling disease known as Trump derangement syndrome. And a lot of Republicans and Democrats alike said, hey, man, come on, the guy just died. And they thought he might walk it back a little, and they asked him a question later in the day. He says, I wasn't a fan of his. He was a deranged person. I thought he was very bad for our country. These comments by the president are being universally disavowed. What are your thoughts on these comments?
I think it's terrible. I agree with the Democrats and Republicans and all that. It was just so. See, again, and I said to you before, and I don't want to just have this whole thing just about Trump, but right now, every day he's too controversial, and he opens his mouth and stuff he shouldn't say. So I'm going to answer. I'm going to give him an F on that. I'm not going to give him an A on that, okay? And I use F in terms of alphabet, not the other thing, okay? I want to keep it clean, okay? So I give him an F on that one, okay? I agree with you, and I agree with those other people. Now go ahead to the next one, okay?
That was all I had.
Yeah, okay. So I'm just simply saying that right now he gets on that affordability. Just buy one pencil. I listen to him carefully, and I tell myself I have to turn off the television. He said, "You need to turn off the television. You don't need to be looking at that. You don't need to be looking at that."
Hold on a second. Stop on that one. So we're at a to use a phrase, we are at a turning point in America, and we could go the route of Viktor Orban. We could go the route of Putin, that kind of thing, or we could go a different route. And I don't necessarily think that the Democratic wokeism of the last few years is the right route either. But we are at a position where something's happening, and we don't really know what it is. So to not pay attention to it at all the most dangerous thing.
I agree. I agree with that. I agree with that. But I'm just a human being, okay? I agree. But, it's kind of like I'm trying to see what's going on. I said the other day, and I said it on the radio, I am so proud of Indiana. When I got a call from California, and I got a call from other parts, because I have people kind of clean across America. I have a very large thing. And Indiana, I say, well, basically what it is, I'm just happy and all those people, Shevardov and all those other people who say, well, no, we're not going to do this, because it's back home. There's constituents that saying, no, if you do this, you're out.
Well,
so they,
all right,
they
thank
listen
you.
to their constituents.
Thanks a lot, Ron. We got to move on. I got so much to say about that, but I will tell you this. Go you. All right, yeah. As the Strachan Van Til thing used to say, I love Indiana, and I love everything about Indiana. I love the sports. I love the people. I love our terrain. I love driving to Indianapolis, and I tell my wife that when the sun's going down and those big power towers around Lafayette and the sun's like reddish yellow over farm fields, I'm like, this is as good as it. This is beautiful. I mean, I'll take this over mountainous Grand Canyon scenes any day. And there's I mean, I just think it's cool. Even when I went to California, I was like, this is all right. Not too great, but, it's warm on Christmas Day. Oh, that's nice. But it's just kind of cool. Now, I think what happened with this non-redistricting vote is something that is way more important than just going after Frank Mervan's seat or not going after it. Something happened with us here in the middle of the country standing up and just saying, and it wasn't even like a active thing, I think. It was just like many of the Republicans who the rest of the country is putting it as stood up to Trump. It's like, I don't even think that is. It's like, if you really think about it, and I think I'm kind of this way, and many of you, it's just like, man, I just don't want to be bothered. And, I don't want to be threatened. I don't want to be bullied. I just kind of like where I'm at. Here I am in Indiana, and we go to work, and we, fight on the radio or on social media. There's people going back. But in the end, it's a pretty cool place. And, I don't need anybody from the outside telling me how to do radio. And Dan Durnell doesn't need anybody from the outside telling him what's right or wrong. I mean, I grew up with that guy. And, I know what he's like. And I'm like, it's just something monumental happened with that vote. That's why it was national and international news. And I'm not sure what it was, to be honest with you. But anyways, Adriana, can I take another call, or do I have to go to break? All right, take another call.
Yeah, you can take one more call.
All right. Gosh, I love this, where I don't have to make a decision. By the way, me being a little bit off the rails today, I blame on Verly Suggs. She's the Tuesday person that keeps this on.
She told you she wasn't going to be
I know,
here,
but that just gave me complete license to be, just screw around like I like to do. And that's, all right. Anyways, hey, you're on the air.
You and Ron singing Silent Night, you couldn't qualify to sing in a choir, church choir.
Oh, in a heartbeat. I know that. And he got kicked out of his, so we're both even.
There you go.
Yeah.
I wanted to talk about the preacher, but first I wanted to point out, that Whiting's pierogi drop was named the best New Year's Eve ball drop by USA Today.
Yes. I didn't want to really talk about it because Dabberton's going to kind of bring that out tomorrow. Obviously Mr. Whiting and Robertsdale, but that was a huge honor. I mean, I remember when they started that, it wasn't that long ago, and now it's a big deal. They dropped that ball, and you want to know something? Well, people are just a little bit off in Whiting and Robertsdale, and it doesn't matter how cold it is. They'll come out and get a hot drink, and they'll sit there and wait for that thing. I went one time at like 11, and it was so cold, I just went home and watched it on TV. But they're a little bit off, up there by the lake. Maybe it's all that Cargill and BP fumes coming at them all those years. But something's different up there.
Here's the Times article. It says the pierogi drop in which a pierogi plunges 50 feet into a boiling cauldron in honor of the Calumet region's Eastern European heritage was neck and neck with Boise's potato drop throughout the contest. And Whiting beat Boise, though Boise has a population of 850,000. People had to call in, and I did a tour of Central Europe a number of years ago, and when we were in Poland, the people were referring to Poland being in Eastern Europe, and the guy corrected people right away. This is not East; it is Central Europe.
What do you mean it's Central Europe?
That's how they see it. Poland, Hungary, Czechoslovakia, or Czech Republic and Slovakia. Those are the Central European countries. They have an association of Central European countries. They don't. They are. East implies Russia. They're not too crazy about the Russians. How about talking about...
No, wait a second. I'm just thinking about the geography of that. I mean, I've always thought that I was Eastern European. So you're saying I'm Central European.
You're Central European. Yes.
That would be more like... Central European would be more like Germany, right? And then you go a little bit east, it would be Poland and Belarus. And, I guess Serbian's kind of Eastern European, kind of Central. So is Croatia. All right, I'll have
that's Southeast Europe. Got your geography's a little weak.
That and my singing, right? What else, huh?
Yeah.
Hey,
exactly.
you know what? It's Verley's fault. She wasn't here today. There's no discipline for the first hour. Yes. All right, go ahead.
Well, let's talk about Preacher. There are a lot of people out there who have no idea who you're talking about. Why don't you explain who Preacher was?
Do you want to hear this, Adriana? I'm not sure that I have enough time to do this, but
let me ask you this.
Go ahead.
What was his real name?
His real name was Stephen Glover.
Did he like to gamble?
Yes. He was, before anything else, he was a gambler and a bookie. That was his main job. He didn't, I didn't pay him anything. I think near the end of his life, he was on disability. So I don't even think I paid him near the end because then it would mess up with his disability. And then, so what I'd like to do is go play golf with him. And even though I might win, I, still give him money because I don't think I could pay him. But he made a lot of money on the side with his bookie operation.
Mm-hmm. Of course, he never talked about that publicly.
No, he wouldn't talk. He's like, I go, all these people are coming to your office like they're buying weed or something, and I know what he's doing, and but he never talked about it on the air because he didn't want to jeopardize that business. But everybody knew.
Yeah. Well, I think he died of a heart attack, right?
I think what happens is I went there and was the first person on the scene at his house when he died.
Right.
And it was, I broke down at his funeral, and I was supposed to give the speech. And, I haven't broken down like that maybe 3 or 4 times in my life. And it just hit me. It was an awful time, an awful moment. And I think that I've got a little bit of traumatic residual on it, and that's why I have never really addressed taking his tapes. I got a text from someone here, Adriana. This is going to make a lot more work for you, which you don't need right now.
What?
But there's somebody here that says, I have a ton of Preacher bits all edited and ready to go. Contact me. That's your job to do.
Well, I told you earlier in the show, because I didn't know who he was, I wouldn't feel right making that a podcast because I wouldn't know the inside jokes, the titles, the descriptions, exactly how other people would. Like,
I know exactly the person to do that. Larry Kyleman, he's a teacher over here at Hammond Central. He could do it. So that is going to be a podcast. There's 21 podcasts now. I haven't really been that involved in creating much of any of them, except maybe the Cow Guys that comes out today at 9 o'clock. Well, you're going to want to listen to that, by the way. You know,
9 o'clock?
Yeah, the Cow Guys thing posts today at 9. Just go to any Apple, Spotify, whatever, and you'll get the Cow Guys podcast. It was an awful story to kind of veer away from it. And that Cow Guy is a larger-than-life figure now. He is rebounding in his life, and he is the #1 national rural newscaster on Region Finance, RFD they call it. He's got a national show. He's got millions of watchers and listeners. But he kind of wanted to tell his story about being at the Board of Trade and his youth and all that. But when his daughter was, I won't give all the particulars away. I'll let him tell it on his podcast. But he had some just amazing tragedies, and he wants to tell the story. And he called me. He's like, all right, there's a number of people, number of kind of bigger networks that will take my podcast and want to do something with it. And I said, well, if you come here, you're going to have a 21-year-old senior at Purdue Northwest telling you what to do and how the podcast is going to go. That's how it works here. And he goes, okay, thanks. And then it goes about 2 weeks, and I'm like, all right, I guess he didn't like that. And he's going somewhere else with his podcast. He calls me back. He goes, I did my homework. I want to do my podcast with you. And I go, you remember that Adrian Alvarez is going to tell you what to do, and me. And he goes, yeah, I did my homework, and this is what we're doing. So the first podcast drops today, but it is not the first podcast doesn't go into the to the tragedies, but he wants to tell his story, and it is an awful story. It's just an awful story. But anyway.
On occasion, I've caught him on Fox Business.
Yeah.
Maybe he's not there anymore.
No. He's a regular on Fox Business. He's a regular on all the business channels. But his main thing is that they had a farm like in western Illinois, and he knows pigs and hogs and all that. So he talks nationally every day. His main job is out of Nashville. They have a rural financial network, and that's in almost every farmer's home in America, talking about rain, and talking about crop prices, and talking about new farming implements and new technologies. It's all directly for the farmer. And
didn't he live in Hobart?
He lived in Portage, right next to the high school. And he played football at Colorado, so once in a while like on Monday, and say, I watched the game from my back porch. He didn't want to go in because he couldn't drink inside the game. So he could actually see it from his back porch. But he lived in Portage, and nobody knew who he was. He's kind of a big name.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, Walt, I got to move it. I do want to hit one story, and I'll do it with you on the line. NIPSCO is looking to build a massive power plant in Wheatfield. They already have a big one there, but they're going to build up off to the northeast side of it.
Powered by what? How are they going to power that?
I don't know. Let me read this, okay?
Natural gas or
I
coal?
don't know.
Or
all right. So last night was a massive vote in Jasper County, where Wheatfield is. I think it was in Rensselaer. So it says, the Jasper County Plan Commission did not approve the NIPSCO rezone for the Wheatfield Data Center project last night.
For the data center?
Well, yeah. I'm not sure exactly.
You said
I don't
power
know
plant.
if it is where they're going to generate the power for the data centers, what I thought it was. But I do know that a lot of people were looking at this. Certainly NIPSCO was. I had the NIPSCO guy scheduled this morning, Rick Kalinsky and a guy named Spencer Summers. And I think since this maybe this vote had something to do with the fact that they canceled this morning. But anyways, so they voted to deny the request to rezone farmland for the potential data center and associated natural gas plant. There it is. There's your answer. Data center and gas plant. Following a very large public hearing, This decision stops the rezoning needed for NIPSCO to move forward with building a new power plant to serve energy-hungry data centers in Northwest Indiana. So that brings the question, Walt. All these data centers want to come here.
Right.
And we have whether you like NIPSCO or not, they can generate a lot of power. And that's one of the things, two things attract them. Three things. One is our location, right? It's right in the middle of where all the traffic is for the internet and all that stuff. Two, we have the building trades that can build anything they want, including billion-dollar structures, right?
Right.
And three, we produce the energy that they'll need. And to some extent, we have enough water to cool all their stuff. But we have all of the infrastructure that they need. NIPSCO's saying they need to build massive more infrastructure. And that was what we were going to talk about today with Kalinsky. But we couldn't do it because I don't know what happened, but I hope to have him on very shortly to explain what's going on with the relationship between power and data centers. Now, you need to reschedule that, Adriana. Is that possible? I'll give you his number.
Yeah, it's if you put it in your email.
Yeah, and then the second thing is Josh Huddleston, the mayor of Hobart, wants to come on too. So see if you can get him on Friday. I'll be here Friday. So, Walt, what do you make of, really just narrow it down. All these other things are lining up to get all these massive data centers. One of the things that bothers me is that I don't know if we're going to have enough power for them. You know what I mean?
Exactly. That's the core of a lot of the opposition to it, to put more demand on the existing power system, which would run up the cost of energy to the ordinary citizen. And there was a data center that was, I think, proposed for the Wheeling area, which is in South Porter County, something like that. And there was so much strong public opposition that they decided to not go there. But the objections were power and water. And if you go, I like the idea that if you're going to build a big data center and the demands it makes on energy, that builds the power so it doesn't put greater pressure on the existing grid. And there's NIPSCO's willing to build a gas fired operation, but there's been talk about many nuclear power plants to support the energy demands of these data centers. So I like the idea that if you're going to build a data center, how are you going to power it? And if you can, natural gas is a relatively clean power source, and as compared to coal. When you talk nuclear, that makes people really nervous. So, and natural gas seems to me like a good idea.
Yeah, evidently it was a standing room only crowd, and I see the picture here. Mm-hmm. And 8 members of the Jasper County Plan Commission voted down NIPSCO's request to rezone 5 parcels of land in Wheatfield, and what they wanted to do was a combined cycle gas turbine plant and possible data center. So first was the what they call a combined cycle, and I talked to someone. I actually did some homework last night, Walton. I called a guy who knows all about this, and he called it a combined something or other, and I left my notes on my nightstand. But this is as it says right here, it says this is a major setback for the data center movement in Northwest Indiana. And I don't know if that's good or bad. You know what I mean? And that's up to people. Also, there's an organization here, Adriana, that's called Just Transition NWI. They're the opposition. Let's see if we can't get somebody from the opposition also. So that's.
I gather that in Hobart, that the town officials are for the data center, but there's strong grassroots opposition to it. Why don't you have two different shows, one for the officials and what their argument is, and then bring in some of the people who are active in the opposition?
I don't know. That sounds way too logical, Walt. Why don't you can maybe help us on our programming as we go forward. That's a good idea. All right, man. Thanks a lot. Talk to you. 219-845-1100. I got this bagel sitting here with a ton of cream cheese that I put on at 6 o'clock this morning. Do you think it's still edible?
It'll be just fine.
Yeah, I'm like the coffee mugs I see around here are still being drank out of, so I think you're fine. If those haven't killed you yet, you should be fine with that bagel.
Yeah, I mean, you drink coffee out of the mold-ridden mugs that sit for 5 days. I mean,
you've built up an immune system.
Yeah,
you're correct, sir. But anyways, go on. Talk to me. What's going on?
Hey, morning, Jed. Morning, guys. Hey, so this data centers, what do they benefit the community that people put them in other than short-term construction jobs? They suck up a bunch of water and suck up a bunch of electricity, right? And we're saying we're worried that we're not going to be able to have enough electricity for them. Are they going to be paying? See, they won't go to a place where they're going to have to pay excessive amounts of money for that electricity. That's why they like Indiana so much. The governor came out and said, we have already got a good foundation in, and it will not cost our people, the state of Indiana, any extra money to have these data centers come in. You know why? Because they raised the rates 43% over 2 years on us to already build this in, so now that they can offer lower rates to these data centers. It's all garbage. It's junk. We get no benefit from it other than they suck up all our water and electricity.
Well, you have ongoing jobs.
How's it ongoing?
They
it's
have
just a building that sits there.
Well, I mean, you got to have people that operate the computers and operate the site. I'm just giving the other side. I don't know what. All right, and then of course there is a lot of construction jobs for a very long time.
Not a very long time. How long does it take to build one data center?
Well, they're not planning on building one data center, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, they're planning on building lots of data centers. If you really think about it,
it's like all these solar farms that they took all that farmland, right? Have you driven around Wheatfield and look at all that land that got sucked up by all those solar fields? Is that benefiting us? Because they told us that would help us, yet they raised our rates 43%. Raised our rates, but then took all our farmland to do what?
So,
for construction jobs?
Are you saying that you don't want the solar farms?
I'll tell you what. I'll take solar farms and data centers if they lower my rate to 80% to give you that 43% back and then another 40%. What does it benefit us? Construction jobs? Those solar farm jobs are all done now. They're all built. So now where's the benefit for us now? It just ate up our farmland and we raised our rates.
You know, you call a lot, and I appreciate it. You text me and send me stuff. No, I like it because a lot of times you've thought it all through and you outline logical arguments. I mean, ate up all our farmland, and now you're going to, eat up our, causing an increase in our power rates. Now, that's one thing and taking up a bunch of our water, which we have almost an infinite supply of, but yeah.
Okay.
Well, I mean,
they're going to put in Jasper County. Where are they getting the water from if they put it in Jasper County? Kankakee River or Lake Michigan or Bass Lake or Lake Mexico? Where are they getting that water from?
I don't know. That's a good question. Right. All I know is that there were a lot of people looking at this decision last night, and evidently the Plan Commission said no in Jasper County. Wheatfield's kind of like right across, right into Jasper County. There's a lot of people that work at Wheatfield. I worked at Wheatfield in the early 80s as a laborer, but it was a shell of when it was just right when they were kind of building it. And I just had a couple days down there, but it's a massive complex.
Which they're shutting down because they're shutting down all the coal ones, and that's where a lot of drywall was made down there from, and that's I never understood either. That's another thing. I got to go to work here quick, but that's another thing. Like our drywall, like those coal burning plants, the waste from the plants is what we use to make drywall. So what happens when we shut down all those plants? What are we going to use for drywall anymore? We're going to put plastic up? I don't know. But
all right,
anyway,
thanks a lot, man. Have a good day.
I got to go.
Thanks. Bye.
You got 2 more.
Hey, don't I have a show at 8 o'clock?
Yes, you have Cal painting.
Is he here?
At 8 o'clock. Yeah, he's in the parking lot.
How do you know?
That's his truck.
Oh, all right. Hey, let's take a couple more calls and we'll go.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to go through that, but don't take any more on, okay? Hey, you're on the air. How are you?
Jimbo, doing great. Hey, listen, your last caller was virtually right on the money. I don't think you realize this, but data centers are being rejected all over the country because you need a massive amount of water or some way to cool that stuff. Now, if you put a data center up in Alaska, you got no problem, but it's a little bit far away. So that's why, where the hell are you going to, Jimmy, there's no Lake Michigan in Jasper County.
I don't know where, I mean, he asked the question, where are you going to get the water in Jasper County? I
They're
don't
not,
know.
They don't have it. And when you try to suck it all out of the ground, you're going to go, oh, why? Where'd all these sinkholes come from? What? This is the problem with all these knuckle-headed green DEI guys who think we can put up solar panels and we can. We don't need it. We don't need coal and we don't need oil, and we'll run everything on batteries. And then they go, well, where are we going to get the electricity for the batteries? Oh, well, we'll just plug into a solar. Okay, don't be stupid. You can't defy physics. You can't just, and like the guy said, we took it up the hind end with these NIPSCO rates. I mean, you close Arkansas steam baths down there if they did that. You just can't decide you're gonna, put something where you want just because you think it's gonna work. And then like I said, we got jammed, Jimmy. Like that guy said, you got to drop the rates by 80% to get us back to break even. And this AI ridiculousness of, the whole world's going to run on AI. You know who the queen of the internet is, right?
Hey, I'm just listening to you. Just act like nobody is here to talk to. Just say what you need to say.
She made it crystal clear. She goes, listen, you plug in the AI, you got about a 70% chance of getting the right answer. AI is just another computer program, sophisticated, running 20 times faster than what you got now. Now, does it do some great work on some things? Yeah. But it's simply another computer program. Like Dave Chappelle said, there is no AI machine that'll ever be created that's going to make funnier jokes than me. It's just that simple, bro.
All right, let's leave it right there. Thanks a lot. 2 more. Hey, you're on the air. How are you?
Yeah, I'd want to weigh in on the data center issue. Responsible location of these data centers is absolutely critical, but there is a responsible way to do it. I'm involved in one in Maryville, did all the research. The water you'll get from Lake Michigan, it's a massive amount of water initially, but they recycle that water. That's an issue. As far as NIPSCO, the corporation they just formed is specifically for data centers. So everybody talking about your rates being raised. It's going to be totally independent, totally transparent on where it'll be supplied by the users and not by, and that's why they separated that company. So they're going to build the data centers. It's a question of where they're going to do them and use responsible common sense. Yeah, don't drain Bass Lake. Lake Michigan's got plenty of water. NIPSCO's committed to provide plenty of power, and they're a boom for every community, period. That will lower your taxes.
What about some of the stuff that they talked about, or some of the previous callers talked about? I mean, where are they going to get that kind of water in Wheatfield? Are they going to pump it from Lake Michigan?
That's where the word responsible. Do it responsibly on places that can actually supply the resources needed. Yeah, I don't want to drain the Kankakee River. Yeah, if it's going to do that, move it somewhere else. There's plenty of good sites. And as far as farmland, you know how they got that farmland? They bought it off the farmer. You're going to tell the farmers they can't sell their land because you want to, and we've got way more farmland than we need. We subsidize farmers to not grow crops because we've got too much farmland. So I love Matt Reardon's cave people analogy. Citizens against virtually everything. And anytime you're going to do anything, you've got a certain portion of the population that's going to be against it, no matter what.
Thanks for the call. I'd love to go into some of that, but I'm at the end here. All right, one more. Hey, you're on the air.
Hey, look, really quick, I'm tired of all the people in their data center talk. It's because nobody understands how the evolution of tech works. And AI, I got news for you, Griffith, it is not another computer program. AI is just nothing but web scraping 2.0. It's been around for a while, and if you were in tech, you knew how to use it before NVIDIA got in bed with every government and power company acting like it's the new gold rush. It's not. Eventually, all that's going to happen with AI is people that are employed with tasks at work are just going to be arguing with each other's AI responses instead of actually thinking through what the project is. AI, mark my word, is making us and will make us dumber than we can ever expect, because the ultimate goal of AI is for that to be the ultimate authoritative figure. Because you can't argue with AI. It skirts all the legal things. It gets rid of judges. It gets rid of lawyers. It gets rid of accountants. It gets rid of all of them. So keep pushing the AI. That's the way to go. And I'll tell you one thing. Here's the other thing that nobody's talking about, and I just got to find the time to get down to a NIPSCO meeting or whatever. There is tech right now invented by guys out of Taiwan that is going to get rid of all the video cards. You're going to be able to run all these AI models off of old computers that are 11 and 12 years old. And everybody wants to build a data center. It's insanity. Nobody's talking about what's going on. I mean, the real reason the data centers are going in, this is the other reason, and they're being pushed, is because the entire currency landscape of the world is changing. And if you guys think that 2025 was wild, you just wait to see what 2026 brings. But like I said before, you guys are on your own. I can only call in and try and fight the busy signal so long. So good luck. Hopefully maybe I will take you guys up on that podcast thing sometime soon. But just remember, folks, AI is not your savior, okay?
Leave it
and
right
it's
there.
not going to bring forever jobs. Have a good one.
Thanks.
Merry Christmas.
That's it for my morning show. We're going to go into cabinet painting here in a minute, but it's been a lot of fun, and Adriana comes in at 7, so I apologize to absolutely nobody for...
Yeah, I was like, you're not sorry.
No, I'm blaming it on Verly Suggs. She normally comes on
I thought you were gonna
Tuesdays,
talk about your-
and she
your
comes
singing.
in and she goes, "Oh, we got to take calls. We got to talk about this. We got to talk about that." When she's not here, I do whatever I want to do, and that probably doesn't equate to structure-filled radio. But I'll tell you what, I can't tell you where I'd rather be other than talking to you guys on AM 1230 WJOB and 104.7 FM, the voice and face of the region.